All right, guys, so let's talk about it. JCW. So I made it my business to watch. I went and watched like 8, maybe, it might have been maybe 10 episodes of JCW. So, as I said before, I wanted to see what was going on before Russo showed up so I can see what the differences are in the writing or whatever they're doing. Okay, so 4 things I want to point out that this company has, which they're on a good track in terms of being consistent. They've been consistent with what they're doing and their audience. I'm looking at their views on their YouTube. So it's not like their channel views are going down, anything like that. I don't know. I know they. So Vampiro was talking to the owner of the place or whatever, the head clown, right? So he basically said every Thursday night, man, like, yeah, I'm watching you guys. So okay, so they come on Thursday nights. I don't know what channel they come on or whatever. I don't know anything about that. If they have anything outside of a YouTube channel or whatever, I don't know. But one thing I'm going to say, well, is they have characters. That's a must to me, and that's a plus, definitely. Okay, I feel like sometimes people don't even know what they want, then you have to show them, because they're just so into, you know, whatever they're used to, and even if they don't like the current model of what they're used to, they just can't see past it. They have characters, they have storytelling, okay, they have authenticity, and they have fun factor. Now, they have storytelling, but from what I've seen, they don't have long-term storytelling. What I've seen with them is like, say like if Sting and Lex Luger are beefing in you know, JCW, and hey, I'm gonna do this to you, and come Thursday night, you won't make it out the ring, blah blah, whatever. Okay, so the build up to Sting versus Lex Luger, it's like once that fight happens, done, next. I have not seen long-term storytelling. So that's something that people, WWE watchers, won't like. Like who cares? That the problem with this is this. Wrestling is really not mainstream. It's not. Don't be fooled thinking because, oh, WrestleMania put such and such amount of people in, and AEW put 80,000 people in this. Yeah, great, but it's not mainstream. So the problem with that is, the wrestling audience that love pro wrestling will understand and appreciate what's different. They will appreciate the authenticity. But for those that think wrestling is supposed to be done one way, one voice, and basically follow the leader type of mentality, wrestling will never grow. Outside of content creators that love professional wrestling, which is why, well, that's supposedly why they were supposed to do it, right? At least that's what you would think. Do you see ESPN or any major podcasts or any, like, do you see any of these like big people really talking about pro wrestling? No, you don't see a dedicated like ESPN. You don't inside the NFL or all around the NBA, or you don't see anybody doing that for pro wrestling. It's not on that type of scale. This is what makes me laugh when I see like a WrestleMania or something, and you got Booker T and all them sitting around like ESPN stuff. Remember I said that a long time ago, and isn't it ironic that they end up with an ESPN deal? It makes me laugh because I'm like, damn, they sitting there like this is freaking ESPN. Like they trying to make it feel like it's you, like give you give you that impression like it's really that big of a deal. Like outside of what you're doing, no, people don't just cover wrestling like that, man. So yes, you know, even people that have podcasts that are usually they're ex-pro wrestlers anyway, something like that, but like just in general, nah, man. And you guys know what I'm saying, and you have to check for that kind of stuff. You go through any sports channels and all that, none of it is dedicated to pro wrestling. So even a time where they would show old wrestling matches and stuff, the old classics back like some years ago, it's obvious that they don't feel like that gets enough attention, so they stop doing it. Viewership is not up when it comes to stuff like that. So even with the NBA losing like, you know, 53% of his audience, goddamn, they're still getting more coverage than pro wrestling on major outlets. So you think people in pro wrestling will wake up, man? My statements about Vince Russo or Eric Bischoff, any of them, I stand on it. It's like I said, they always talk about wrestling like they got all the answers for everything. All you're doing is piggybacking off of something that was already done. What would you actually create that would blow everybody's socks off? So when you get the chance, like when Eric Bischoff last year, he produced the show for MLW. Everything, the camera work, the way the arena was set up, the lighting, the scripts for what the wrestlers were going to do, like he did all of that. How many people are talking about it? Hell, he's not even talking about it. He's talking more about AEW even when he was in MLW. He had a little short run with them and it came to an end. Okay, Vince Russo, he's now in a position where he's their writer, he's their, he's doing their creative and all of that. So, okay, cool. Now let's see what he can do with JCW. I don't watch any promotion and look for something to nitpick with. No, I look to see, hey, let me see see what they got. That's all. So my job is not to sit here and tell you what you should do and how you should do it. No, I'm looking at what you actually do. Now, either I like it or I don't like it. But one of the biggest problems is this. And this is why I say you look at how old school, how old-fashioned Eric Bischoff and all these guys are. They seem to think that everything that you touch in pro wrestling, first thing they want to do, go to Nielsen ratings and let's see what the ratings were. Oh, they need to get a TV deal. Look, I don't know what the goal is. How they want to take this, if they want it to be a commercial type success or whatever. One thing I can see is they're all about, hey man, come hang out with us, come enjoy the show and just have some fun. They're not taking this like you guys know that professional wrestling is just a work. It's an act. It's not a real freaking sport. I don't care how much you want to try to pretend it is. Okay, it's an act. Okay, they're a bunch of stuntmen and stunt women. They're not really fighting. Okay, it's predetermined who wins. Yeah, they're really doing moves that will bring pain and stuff like that. They get hurt far more by accident than they do on purpose. In fact, if you hurt someone on purpose and it's notice, you're going to be suspended or fired depending on how far you go. So all these things that you see happen, it's an act. Okay, but they get paid to do it. The problem is how people try to make it seem like one company is real and the other one isn't. Like it's all an act. Okay, and so instead of just having fun, that's why the independent shows are so much more fun, because the crowds are into it. They're getting, hyped up. It's a show, but it's for some reason, and it's got to say it, WWE fans always try to make it seem like what they're doing is so real. It's the fans with this whole, Triple H and everybody know it's a damn show, but like the fans act like they're watching a real sport. When you hear me say believability, you're not psyching me to believe that, oh, they're really fighting, or hey, this is an actual sanctioned fight, or no, like I'm watching the UFC or boxing. No, when I say believability, what I mean is, again, you should not have a 285-pound guy and you're having a 50-50 match with a guy 180 pounds. Like he has all these muscles, he's powerful, he's posing and beating his chest and all that, just to go in there and struggle to beat or lose to a guy half his size. That looks so stupid. When I say believability, it's cool when like Eddie Kingston can do a promo and you really think he hates the person he's talking to. And no, that's just his way of getting the message out. This is what I'm saying. Samoa Joe does that too. It's several people that can do a promo and it feels like it's more than just a promo. We know, and there are people that don't like each other. Okay, I don't feel like that should have anything to do with it. You should just be good at your craft to where, that's what I'm saying. When believability is the match psychology should be different. How matches are going should be different. Again, all this 50-50 booking stuff is like, okay, it's really, that is part of my point of, we talk about something being believable. You have these little scrawny guys in here, going toe to toe with these big guys. It just looks ridiculous. Same with the females. So yeah, it's like these are the people that try to make wrestling seem like it's like these guys are really fighting each other or whatever. Okay, and they take it way too serious. All of this week after week after week, frowning your face up, taking your own, putting your picture on your thumbnail with the sad expression or the aim. Like, man, grow up. You guys take this stuff way, way too serious, man. You're supposed to be having fun. And if you're not, then just stop watching or talk about something that you know, in a more positive light. I'm not saying watch something and lie and pretend you like it. I'm saying you're doing it to yourselves. And the fact that your audience sit there and listen to you every week with the complaints and they just ruined John Cena, they just ruined wrestling, they just, like, no, you ruined yourself. That's what happened. Like they make it seem like somebody just literally took the life of one of their relatives or something. Like, it's not that serious at all. You know, but anyway, at the end of the day, yeah, man, like I said, those elements that they have, put it like this, if whatever Vince Russo does there, or with or without Vince Russo, but he's supposed to, you know, be able to help elevate things, right? If they can grow a bigger audience with what they have right now, right? So be it. I'm not here to tell you, oh, I don't know, y'all shouldn't watch it, because no, if they can grow a bigger audience with what they have, with the elements that they have right now, great. Me looking at what they have and looking at the way people react to pro wrestling is where, if you hear me say they don't have a serious side of things with them, it's more like just fun. I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying is the masses might not see it that way as a good thing. They might look at it and go, ah, man, you understand what I mean? But if you're a WWE fan, there's no way that you can like Iguana Man and this little, like all this little silly stuff, but then turn around and say JCW is not serious enough, because this era of WWE is soft, man, like super soft. It's been that way for a long time. In fact, don't you guys remember The Rock was making fun of John Cena and saying all his fans were kids? Don't you remember they was laughing at the PG-13 era and all that? Okay, so, you know, you guys have short-term memory. That's why when you bring up certain times, I'm like, bro, the time that you're bringing up, WWE was still being clowned for certain things, even by people within the wrestling industry. So I don't know why you making it seem like a certain era was just perfect. There was always some type of criticism. There was always something people liked, and there was always something people didn't like. But somehow people have this mentality of like thinking whatever era you liked more was just solid. Like there was nothing that was wrong. There's always something. I mean, Fandango, this guy coming out dancing, and it's like, I mean, there's always been like silly, edgy characters and all that. Wrestling, okay, when you're a wrestler, you are a character. Okay, the biggest thing I see with pro wrestling now are there no over-the-top characters, there are very few edgy characters, and I'm telling you, JCW have these edgy over-the-top characters. They do have it, and the fans that show up are into their shows. Now, any wrestling company can have a show and it's just like a dead crowd, but I mean, like, they're into what they're doing, so their fan base is obviously into them. You see a lot of people out in the audience with their faces painted and stuff, like different characters and clowns and all that. So yeah, they do have a following. It's just not a massive following. Now, if Eric Bischoff, if Vince Russo can get them there, you know, in a space where, like I said, they are like, it is like a big demand for them, so be it. But the biggest challenge that I see for JCW is the same challenge that every other company has. And that is wrestling fans not understanding that everything that you see is not supposed to be identical to something else. It's basically the thing of, I'm not used to things being different. As far as their product goes, how big they can grow, I don't know. Especially the fact that the company has been here for so long, and 24 years. You look at TNA, and you look at how they have gotten to a point where they got so desperate that they were openly admitting and granting whatever success that they have to WWE. And the funny thing is, you know, look at their Super Bowl show, Bound for Glory, right? And they were like proud to tell you how they got almost 8,000 people, right, to attend. Well, they just had Turning Point. Back to this regular size crowd of, TNA Impact. Notice nobody was talking about the size of the crowd. Notice, right? So you see the point. What I'm saying to you is, it's one thing for people to know that your company is growing, but when you get to the point where everything is about ratings and how many tickets we sold, to the point where that becomes your conversation, the microscope that you're under becomes even smaller. Why? Because now they're waiting for something to go wrong. Oh, last week y'all had such and such amount. Now this week you only had such and such amount. And the WWE has made a career of bragging about how many people showed up to a show. They want everybody to think that they're mainstream, regardless to the other companies. No, they're not mainstream either. If you can pull even a 5.9 million views, right, and you got other shows on that same network, 40 million views, you're small time compared to them. You understand what I mean? So all these things that people are saying, and the mindset that people have, pro wrestling's biggest issue is pro wrestling fans. It's really simple. They simply just don't understand that, or so-called pro wrestling fans, they simply don't understand. Every company isn't trying to have a WrestleMania or All In, no. They want to grow. They want to get to a certain spot. But the thing is, they're giving you pro wrestling and they're giving it to you their way. Now, like I say, either you like it or you don't like it. But I just feel like it's a bad thing, and it's a sad thing for pro wrestling that most people don't get it. That authenticity, something different, is not bad. You just won't give it a chance because, you know what? I only like this. But you don't even like the current model of what you're bragging about. So that being said, if they can take what they have and grow their audience, hey, more power to them, man. And we'll see what happens. But there are things, like I said, they do a lot of excessive cursing, and there are things that they will have to change in that sense, because at the end of the day, you can't just go throwing F-bombs around like that repeatedly, and but that's one of the things that they do. But yeah, at the end of the day, measure a company's success based on what they're doing and what their goals are, not what another company is doing. And then you want to bring up stats to try to make another company look bad, but when that company is basically not doing so well, shh. Like I said, you go along with what the WWE is doing, even when they're giving you crappy shows back to back to back to back to back, right? But then when they have a show where the ratings drop considerably and people are not showing up, notice how when they comment on that show, they'll start giving you months of content that they was doing screwed up. So yeah, you felt this way all the time, but as long as the ratings were still consistent, it was okay. But now that people went, I'm not watching, I'm not showing up, now you start to talk about it. And once again, once you start talking too much, people are watching. So Vince Russo, tread lightly, because you're in a position where nobody thinks anything about, as far as you saying you'll beat Raw, nobody really cares about that. And nobody really cares about the company that you work for other than the core fans. And that's what people need to understand. It is what it is. But JCW does have things about it that I like. I think the shows are fun to watch. But I don't know how much they can grow. Only time will tell. That's all I got for you guys now. Catch you on the next one.